Harry, why don't you start off by telling everyone a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Harry Surdhar. I have been in the care field since 24 years. I started in 2001 with a care home, which I converted into a nursing home and subsequently learned and developed into three care nursing dementia individual units. And I'm currently building a fourth one, which will be commissioned in April, May this year.
That's fabulous. Fabulous. Great, Harry. Well, thank you for that. And well, let's get straight in. So, how I recruit, mentor, and train care home managers. Well, where should we start? Where would you like to start?
Well, I would say initially the process of delivering good care is a collective teamwork. Having a good manager is one thing, having a team makes that manager more interesting. In order for someone to manage someone, I truly believe they have to understand how and what are they managing. So I've always recruited people from a junior level, identifying their potential, and then effectively, organically growing them through the organization. And that has been a very, very successful part of our business.
Yeah, I see. And with your first home that you acquired, was that the case too, or did you have to hire like a manager straight off for that one?
Initially, when you buy a running care home, you have to take all the staff, etc., with you. And so we had to take who was on board. But very quickly, I learned what is the most important thing in care, which is the staff.
Hmm.
And the CEO's core responsibility to ensure that the staff are looked after and you go the extra mile than just simply employing them. And that was something which was very, very important, which we very much still follow, and
Hmm.
it paid us dividends. And clearly, I took on people, but then we clearly had ethos and values which we are very proud of. And then people who were happy to participate in them, we still have them with us. And there were other people during the course where we, let's say, disagreed on amicably, then parted, where
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to get like-minded people on board.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so in terms then of what you are looking for in someone as a manager, you've hinted here at obviously being in alignment with your ways, your philosophy and approach. But tell me those characteristics you are kind of particularly looking for.
I think, particularly in the care sector, I have other businesses, but in particular in care business, what I've noticed is that you need to identify people who have caring, compassionate, and real empathy about working with the elderly. So that
Mm.
they don't need to really have any specific skills than what I would call humanity and good people, basically. And if you have got that core structure of humanity in an individual, I think adding the nuts and bolts of what you wish to basically get them to is relatively easy because the care sector very clearly defines what is expected of a care provider to do, which is
Mm.
very well documented. And it's not difficult to then to develop someone who has the ability to grasp, who has the passion to want to develop. So I've found that I don't really necessarily look for any too higher academic qualifications. I look at more what does the person have from a human perspective. And that
Mm.
to me is very, very important. For the rest, we are used to developing people. Our core strength is our people. My core responsibility is to serve my people. I am
Mm.
not their boss. I am there to make a difference in their lives, give them the opportunity, and maximize their life growth for them.
Yeah. And how do you measure, if you like, that ability to having a caring and compassionate style? Now, I guess may seem a silly question, it may seem quite obvious, but it may not always be so. So I wonder how you gauge it. Do you get feedback from other members of the team, or do you make judgments personally in what you see and what you hear?
I'm very fortunate. I have international businesses for a number of years, more than 24 years, which are very diverse. Over the years, there is no substitute to what I call practical experience.
Hmm.
So after being with a number of people globally, dealing with them, it kind of pretty much gives you a good experience when you're talking to somebody. Uh, the first and the foremost thing is for those people to realize that you are a person of clarity and commitment, and your focus here is their well-being and welfare, and you want to take them on board with a view to be with them for a longer period and they're with you. So the key thing first is to be transparent. It's not a case of trying to catch somebody. It is identifying why this person is suitable for this. Why do they want to be in this part of the environment? They have other opportunities. What makes them wanting to come into the care sector?
Hmm.
So those are elements which I tend to identify, which are reasonably easy in a straightforward conversation. It's from the experience I have globally dealing with multiple different people. It's not difficult for me to figure out. I've had a conversation because our conversations are not formal interviews to begin with.
Hmm.
Our conversations are just, to get to know each other. For
Yeah.
me to very much say to them what my views are, why I'm in this field, what my intentions are, where I want to make contributions, and pretty much explain to them, first of all, what my views are, and then hear what they have to say. And it then gradually, over a period, pretty much, gets you can pretty much get to know the person because you are transparent. I'm not really interested at that stage in the person's care experiences. I'm interested in them as a human. And
Yeah.
once that him side is taken care of, then we can work towards identifying what core skills they have, what we need to add to them. And we are then all for giving them all the opportunities to do their qualification, and we pay for that to ensure that we get the best by investing in them.
Yeah, great. Harry, and we mentioned just it might be worth us going through now. You mentioned at the top of this episode the length of time your managers have been with you. It might just be worth just running through that so listeners can understand the duration of time that you've had your managers.
So when I bought the first home, clearly I had to take on people, as that is the nature of duty.
Of course.
Clearly, after operating, we realized that the direction we wanted to follow, some people disagreed, and I was quite happy for them to disagree with me. But
Yeah.
we amicably then decided to part.
Mm-hmm.
We then gradually brought people on board, and I'm very happy to say that the first person I started, who is 73, most people retired 65, is still in the company. And that person's responsibility now from a care manager has changed to become an internal auditor. So rather than we thinking about CQC coming to auditors, we have an internal auditor who is a time served, outstanding manager in the field with us. And since that person is willing to continue, and we are very happy to have that person on board. We have maintained that person into a new role of giving them an internal, shall we say, CQC inspector. So this person goes every month to all of our homes where our managers are, sits with them, does a complete inspection, a mock inspection, and then that is sent to me for us. Every Thursday, I sit with my managers to look at how I can empower them, what I can do for them in order for them to do their job better. And I have to say that our managers and second line of command and third is incredibly robust. I,
Mm.
I am very, very fortunate that we have an incredibly secure ship. And, I don't have to do things because I have to please the CQC and authority. I do it because I'm morally indebted and committed in this great nation and able to serve people.
I see. That's very interesting, and I like the monthly meetings you have with your managers. That's interesting to hear, and your approach on that.
We have a weekly meeting
Weekly,
where
right?
all the managers get together.
All right.
This way, there is nothing outstanding. So
Yeah,
I opened the meeting by saying to them, look, you had requested this support from me. Here is the answer to that. I feel that I'm as accountable, if not more, than my managers are, in order for me to empower them and give them all the necessary tools to ensure that what I expect from them that they can deliver.
yeah,
So by doing this every Thursday, we don't have these meetings where we sit down and talk and just make notes. We make actions. We make things happen.
yeah, yeah. I see.
Clearly define who is going to take responsibility of what needs doing, including me. And we have very little time for meetings. We are more interested in execution rather than phrases like "I'll come back to you, we'll let you know." There
Yeah,
is no there is no fat in our business. I'm accountable to my managers, and my managers are accountable to me.
yeah, yeah. Great, fabulous. And so, what have you found? Because I know, as you mentioned, you recruit from your own teams, and that's the process that you do, particularly for your managers. And what do you find is, so it's going to be a gradual process, yeah, a gradual continual learning curve, if you like. What do you find? You've talked about the being caring, compassionate, and that's a skill, of course, which they need to have. But what kind of other skills do you particularly like to see? I mean, because obviously your managers themselves running, teams in what is a highly demanding role, much more demanding, I would say, than mine is. What do you like to see in managers in terms of those other skills that tell me what you think, may or not be, or maybe more possible to coach and to train rather than like being caring and compassion, which tell me what you think, maybe something that is more kind of intrinsic to that personality.
Well, I think the fact that our company's policy is to employ somebody from a junior level,
Mm,
keep investing in training and mentoring them. One of the key things is that person can see when they were in a position how the way they were dealt with their superior. So we tend to look at ways of training people where they are able to value their people who enable them to do the job they are doing. So our managers
mm,
are only as strong as the team they manage. And to manage people, like you have said, it is something that you are effectively managing productives, but your position as a manager is a non-productive. Your key role is to make sure how can you make sure that the productives are cohesively all working together so that the music is flowing, so to speak, the orchestra is good. And for that, you need to have a person who understands people, understands what it takes to train somebody, has the ability to listen. All these things are key areas if you are a leader, is to allow people to speak, allow people to have the confidence that they can bring value to you because they are not afraid of adding value to what you're already doing because everybody has ability to bring in certain areas and the best way is to listen to everybody, look at what's best for the business and then put that in place and everybody makes a valuable contribution. So I feel that the manager's key responsibilities is to ensure that the manager does not see that as a superior or as someone who's above somebody, but see that this role is a serious role. It requires to ensure that compliance is in order. And in order for compliance to be in order, it is important my team is in order. In order to have my team on my side, that I show my team that I'm not a person who's authoritative, but I'm a person who's democratic in order to ensure that I'm willing to listen and adapt onto ideas if I find that somebody suggested something better than what I had in mind.
yeah, yeah, I see. And I'm just curious, Harry, so as you've been co-founder for 24 years, in terms of that ongoing training and development, you touched on it just now, but what extent is it coming from you? And what extent is it coming from the your managers themselves?
Very interesting. I think that it's coming from my managers because my managers and I have a incredible uh, secure relationship where effectively we are one, so to speak. And because
Mm.
I have brought them from the beginning with me, they understand how I think, why I
Mm.
say what I say. So I would say that largely um, I instigated it, but I'm very proud
Mm.
that my managers today are following my footsteps very successfully.
Yeah.
As a business strategy, I've never relied on just the first level of managers. So within the system currently, for example, the fact that we're building a new unit, I already have people that I know will further climb up the ladder because they are equally being trained by their line managers with the qualities that I put into my line managers and who are now passing that on further down the line. So
Mm.
if you took a carer and a senior carer, let's say, we tell a senior carer, you will do everything what a carer does, but you will do much more than a carer by ensuring you lead by example. So
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
managers are doing a fine job by taking that approach in line by ensuring that they are leading by examples.
Yeah, yeah, I see. And another question for you, I'm going to focus on what mistakes you felt you've made over the years, just mainly for anyone listening to just be aware of. So if I was going to ask you, Harry, what mistakes you feel you've made over the years, in any respect, what do you feel? Give us maybe one example or even two. You tell me there might be zero, but maybe you give me one, and it might just give something for those listening to watch out for.
See, mistakes are part of everything. If
Mm.
somebody hasn't made a mistake, I think they haven't got something right either.
Yeah, yeah,
I, I,
that's
can,
that's a nice line. I'll borrow that one. Yeah, yeah.
but I consider that mistakes are part of our
Mm.
succession, and you only get to know when you've made a mistake the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am I'm all for. I have made fair share of mistake, but I didn't make them purposely. I make them with the intention that I was trying to do something right. But
Yes,
clearly, when you're dealing with people,
yes.
times you think that you are on a certain track, your values, your ethos are lined up, but clearly the other side, let's say,
Mm.
disagrees over a period when they are in action delivering something. And in which case, you look at what went wrong when you recruited somebody, what was the areas, and you then look inwards and self-improve.
Yeah, yeah.
So I, in my early days, have made some decisions both commercially by bringing some co-founders on board who I felt were simply there for one reason, which was profits. And profit is not a bad word, but I put the exercise of what we do, which is we provide care, above everything first. I
Yeah,
feel that the profits revenue takes care of itself if you don't compromise with your service or product. So
yeah.
in the beginning, there were certain people who came on board with me who thought that this is a money making machine and
Right,
Harry will work and we will just take the dividends. And I
right.
realized during the course of the period that I needed to amicably part from such people, but invest more and more in people who were hands on with me. And I learned from that. That was one of the mistakes. Some of the mistakes I made where I am a compassionate and kind man, and I only see good in somebody until I deal with them. So
Mm.
when people say, I say to people, look, I think the world is a great place. It's full of good people. I don't see any bad until I dealt with somebody. Then I can make a decision whether they're good or bad. But I don't have a judgment against anybody because until I deal with them, how can I advocate whether they're this or that? So
Mm.
sometimes you have to make those errors, and people will let you down. But you then have to part and learn from that and move on.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Harry. Thank you very much. Well, that's fabulous. Is there anything that we've not covered up to now that you would like to make sure that you do?
Very much. Over the last so many years being in this field, when I socially meet people in different engagements,
Hmm.
especially in certain cultures, people are very quick to wanting to know what do you do for a living.
Hmm.
And they're not shy to ask that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think very many people are of the opinion that the healthcare sector, especially the care sector, is a money-making machine. And
Hmm.
they underestimate the responsibility of the provider and what it takes to deliver excellent care. And I feel that the message for me is that people who feel, and a lot of people who think that this is a very easy business, they need to think twice that what qualities do they possess? First of all, as humans, first of all, as people who understand business, for them to be successful in this business. Because the
Hmm.
success of this business is not how many percentage of profits you make. Your success is based on your reputation, and your reputation is based on the people you employ and how well you look after them. And
Hmm.
this is your greatest USP and your greatest credibility. It doesn't matter, instead of making X number of percent of profit, if you make X minus something, it's not an issue. But if you put your profits ahead, especially in the care sector, then I think you are on a very, very slippery slope.
That's very interesting, Harry. So, I've been in this care sector now for a number of years, and like not as many as you, but I speak to many people. I know the sector pretty well. Tell me what you think. But it seems to me, I think that in the care sector, like yourself, there are people where the care is the most important thing, and the profits, which is nice, will come as a result of delivering that. Yeah. In the same way that I run a company, and the profit from my company will come from, yeah, making sure that you have the best possible product out there. Yeah, so there's a similarity, I think, for the care sector, even more so. I mean, the responsibilities of looking after our nation's elderly, as you've alluded to, is huge. But I also wonder whether, and I think this cuts across all sectors, there are people out there who do see it as a way of making, tell me what you think, very reasonable profits, and the care side of it isn't so much of a priority, and they still do pretty well. So I'm just curious to know what you think about that.
I think that basically that kind of thing, in my opinion, I quite agree with you. I think this is quite a situation that I see myself. And unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, those people wouldn't be in the business for very long because the level of expectancy from the authorities and from the people who require care is rightly going up and up. So people who are not serious in this clearly are, creating a problem for themselves in due course.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Thank you very much. Harry, look, it's been a pleasure to have you on the episode, and thank you very much for being a guest on the Care CEO Success Stories podcast.
Thank you for having me, Adam, and I'm grateful for everything you do. You clearly do a major part by bringing people like us on board. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to add my views. And they are only my views. I don't say I know everything. The only thing I know is I hardly know anything, but whatever I have learned, I am happy to share with others.
The more I feel I know less and less every day that goes by. So, yeah, I understand the sentiment. Great. Harry, thank you very much for being on.
Thank you so much. You have a great evening. Many thanks.